ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Uncle Ben's. Cooking brings us closer. Begin with Ben. Some footage and some pictures of this historic rivalry between the Dogs and the Cougs. As Washington has won the last 4 in this series, 7 of the last 9. But again, the 7th most played rivalry in college basketball history. And a terrific crowd on hand on this Sunday afternoon in Pullman, not only for this rivalry game, but Washington State honoring George Raveling, their former head coach. And speaking of head coaches, there's Mike Hopkins, back-to-back Pac-12 Coach of the Year honors in his first 2 years, and having some difficulty this year after they had a terrific run through the non-conference before league play, coming in at just 2-8 in conference play. And Kyle Smith already lost the jacket. Doesn't even begin the day with the tie. 7 years at Columbia, 3 at USF, and now in his first season. And he has gotten this team playing tremendous basketball at home.
Well, he's basically embraced what he has. I mean, sometimes you go to the cupboard and the cupboard is bare, but a great coach will open up that cupboard, take whatever ingredients, and make a great situation happen. And that's what he's been able to do. His laid-back style has given his team confidence. Washington
State is 10-3. Here in Pullman this year is a steal by Isaac Bonton. And a quick turnover from the Huskies. Jervae Robinson banks in a 3. Really?
You got to shoot that. It's a rivalry game. They hand you the turnover to start the game. Why not shoot the pull-up bank shot 3 to get this party started?
The Washington State with wins here at home against Oregon, UCLA, Arizona State, as Isaiah Stewart the miss and Isaac Bonton clears for WSU. And here's that 2-3 zone that we've seen from Mike Hopkins since he's taken over at Washington, although they've played some man-to-man this year after being exclusively a zone team his first 2 years. Jervae Robinson. The bank wasn't open that time.
Not at all.
A pull-up from Isaiah Carter. And the rebound, Isaac Bonton lost it out of bounds, and a Washington ball.
When you look at the size of Washington, you immediately know the Cougars are going to have to do a great job as a team on the defensive glass. Whether it's Isaiah Stewart or others, they've got the players that can get to the rim.
There's a foul against Washington State. They're getting C.J. Ellaby. The first whistled against Wazoo. Here's a corner 3, and that's stroked by Marcus Sahonis, the freshman from Portland, who there's some question if they'd have him today. He suffered a concussion in practice on Tuesday, but was cleared practice yesterday and ready to go here, and he gets the Huskies on the board.
Big lift for him right there.
Noah Williams for the Cougars.
And that's going to be a key as well for Washington State. Execution against the zone, what they do when the ball gets to the high post.
Isaiah Stewart pulls over Jeff Pollard. But no call, and the loose ball picked up by Jamal Bay. Bay drives, swatted by C.J. Ellaby.
He plays both ends of the floor. A great scorer, but he commits to defense as well.
Deflected out by Isaiah Carter, and a Cougar basketball.
They get the ball to the high post. Stewart has to make a decision, come up or stay at home. And they're going to live and die by that high post play as long as they see 2-3 zone.
Noah Williams fouled by Isaiah Carter. And the freshman from Seattle, Williams, will head to the line.
Yeah, he's going to be the floater. He can go to the high post, he can go to the short corner, but he has to stay active and go where the defense is. And I know that sounds pretty simple, but it's actually kind of complicated when you know you're the guy that no one's guarding, so you got to get open somehow.
Noah Williams, his dad Guy, played for George Raveling here at Washington State. His dad began his career at San Francisco. And there is George Raveling, who's going to be honored at halftime. And one more for Noah Williams, the first African-American head coach in Pac-12, at the time, Pac-10 history. Just
an amazing resume. Knowing Coach Rav from when I played in the Pac-10, tremendous person. His basketball resume is impressive, but more importantly, just as a person, as an individual, lived an outstanding life.
Isaiah Stewart stepping out for three. Just his fourth three-pointer of the season. Corner three, way off from Jervae Robinson, but Jeff Pollard will pull off the air ball. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Isaac Bonton on the drive, lost it going up. Amir Wright ahead for Jaden McDaniels, who checked in. And skipping to the hoop on the reverse from Marcus Suhonis, and Washington has their first lead.
Beautiful transition right there by the Huskies. They get the turnover, great passing, just a layup drill right there.
So the two McDonald's All-Americans, the freshman standouts for UW on the floor, Stewart and Jaden McDaniels. McDaniels has been coming off the bench recently after starting the majority of the season. Shot clock at 10, CJ Ellaby, the Seattle product. Tipped up by Jeff Pollard.
Nice work there by Pollard. He's going to be able to get after a lot of offensive rebounds because it's a zone. We know the difficulties of boxing out in a zone. Great activity right there by Pollard.
They double Isaiah Stewart. Amir Wright in the corner. And CJ Ellaby pulls down the rebound for Washington State. Deep three, CJ Ellaby.
He is such a weapon. He has the penetration and he has the deep shot. You got to guard both somehow.
Forces Mike Hopkins and the Huskies to take time out. Good start in Pullman. A wild Saturday in college hoops and in the Pac-12 yesterday. Well, yesterday, a wild Saturday night. Duke, Carolina. This is how Duke won it.
Unbelievable ending to this game. And if you're the Tar Heels, you got to rebound out of free throws. Basic fundamentals. Duke delivers the stunner at the buzzer. Unbelievable, unlikely, but just the simple things in crunch time.
The improbable win for Duke at the Dean Dome. How about Bob Knight's return to Indiana after 20 years yesterday?
In my opinion, long overdue. He meant so much to that program, and you know that there was some bad blood, but great to see him and all his players back and the fan appreciation, and you know, you can't really put into words what he meant to that program.
Just seeing some of the comments from Randy Whitman. Isaiah Thomas was there yesterday, Quinn Buckner. I think it was a reunion that people are not going to forget anytime soon, and the emotions that were coming out yesterday in Bloomington. 12-8, Washington State leading. Each team has hit a couple of threes to get their day started. For Washington State, in their loss to Arizona here last Saturday, coming off a season low, 49 points, Isaiah Stewart rattles out. And cleared by DJ Rodman, the son of Dennis Rodman, for Washington State.
Pay attention to the early strategy.
Noah Williams finding a soft spot in the Washington zone.
He could end up with 25 points with ease if he just flashes to the open spot. He's got a great outside shot. The Huskies are going to have to pay a little attention to him.
7 straight for the Cougars and their largest lead. Marcus Suhonis has it deflected. Here comes Washington State. CJ Ellaby, he's fouled as Jamal Bay slipped. And it's called for his first, and Ellaby will head to the line. Huskies struggling a little bit at the start of this one is Ellaby. 8th in the conference, 79% for the line. 4th in the conference at scoring at over 18 a game.
And right now, for me, the Huskies have great offensive weapons, but they got to let the ball do the work. Instead of trying to go in the one-on-ones, they got to move the ball and create opportunities for each other. They're a very talented team, but a little too much one-on-one, guys forcing up bad shots.
So C.J. Ellaby hits both, and it's Washington State with an 8-point lead. They've scored 9 in a row. And the Huskies, Corey, they got off to a great start to the season. They beat Baylor, who's the #1 team in the country. They were 10-3 going into Pac-12 play. Jaden McDaniels from long range.
It's a nice shot right there. You go under the screen against a guy like him, he will knock you down. But back to your point, obviously the loss of the point guard really kind of turned things upside down for them offensively. But that still doesn't account for a team that's this talented.
Ellaby, 3.
I tell you, it's just a nightmare to try to guard him because you know he can go to the basket, and then he's got a jumper from NBA range too, so you just got to try to send 2 people at him or something.
C.J. Ellaby blocks the shot of Hamir Wright. Out of bounds, Cougars ball.
Ellaby's second block, we talk about playing both ends of the floor. He gives it up, they give it back to him. He's not really set, but he just takes it, gets a clean look, and the ball's out of his hands.
Is it a little more challenging to guard him? Look, we know how talented and how his ability on the offensive end, with the things he can do, he's really a tough matchup. But then being left-handed, does that add to it?
It adds
Isaiah Carter a charge. Second foul.
Noah Williams is playing an outstanding game. He made the turnover, but he got back, held his ground, and got the ball back for the Cougars. Selfless play there by Noah Williams.
But the versatility of Ellaby in being left-handed, how challenging does it make it to defend him?
Well, subconsciously you're used to guarding right-handed guys, so you take away their right hand. With him, you got to switch gears mentally. But the thing that makes it really bad is every defender's nightmare. When you guard a guy who's got the green light and can shoot, he has the coach's permission to shoot anything, that's just hard to do.
DJ Rodman hustling for the offensive rebound. The 7'1" freshman from the Ukraine, Valdemir Markovetsky, is in for Washington State as Jervae Robinson, the floater. Cougars by 10.
Huskies on a roll, getting it done. Ball movement again. Nobody dribbling it to death. They're swinging it around. One dribble and a shot.
Nate Roberts, the redshirt freshman, in for Washington. The Huskies have a big lineup. Jaden McDaniels fouled and one.
And that could be the second foul on Ellaby, which would be huge at this point in the game. And I think they're going to get him out of here. But great take. Ellaby gets him right on the wrist as he puts it up.
And it is the second on C.J. Ellaby, who will sit. And Jaden McDaniels at the foul line, 75% for the McDonald's All-American, the freshman, who was ranked number 7 among all the recruits entering college basketball this season by our national recruiting director, Paul Biancardi at ESPN. His brother Jalen, who played at San Diego State, now with the Hornets, was a second-round pick. Isaiah Stewart can't tip in the miss, and DJ Rodman pulls it away from traffic.
We'll see if the Cougars can continue to execute against this zone without their key player on the floor.
And a travel on Jervae Robinson is Tony Miller in the game, a transfer from Montana for Washington State, and he's been banged up, dealing with an ankle issue and returning for Kyle Smith at Washington State, and he's got to try to provide some offense in the absence of C.J. Ellaby. But you look at the problems that Washington is having as a reach-in, as McDaniels driving the key, and a lot of it stems back to Quade Green, their point guard, the transfer from Kentucky, being ruled academically ineligible after the first weekend of conference play. But that's not the entire reason for their struggles, is it?
No, it can't be. I mean, they're a talented team. Every team needs chemistry, and whether or not you have a point guard, you still have capable players who need to step up and be more productive. And you see a backcourt violation, just a little bit out of sync. And they've lost a lot of close games over the past 5 games.
8-point lead for Washington State, the 290th meeting between Washington and Wazoo. We're on the Palouse. When you're in Pullman, you got to sample Cougar Gold. Well, Ferdinand's a legendary spot. Ice cream made in the WSU Creamery here in Pullman. So no trip to the Palouse is complete, not just with Ferdinand's ice cream, but you also have to go for the Cougar Gold as well. So this is them hard at work. Cougar Gold cheese is right off the assembly line right there. And it's funny, they even have, when you go through TSA at the Spokane International Airport, a sign that says, no, you can't bring Cougar Gold through security. You got to check it, but you got to try it, right?
Oh,
this,
you got some, okay.
This is what we're talking about. So this is the cheese.
What's the verdict? Let me see.
So good. So good. And now we've got to have some ice cream. Don't want to talk in my mouth.
Yeah, this is a special treat right here.
Here's what we got.
Got a little berry.
We got a little berry.
A little chocolate.
You got a little chocolate?
Yeah, a little chocolate over here. We'll see what they're talking about.
All right.
I'm an ice cream official, so we'll see.
This is good.
Oh, that's good
really
stuff.
Good.
That's good
really
stuff
good.
right there. For sure.
Man. Can I keep eating while we're doing the game?
Yeah, I'll try my best to do the play-by-play. You go ahead and finish up.
Here come the Huskies. I'm trying one more bite.
You know, you mentioned their troubles offensively with the loss of their point guard. And from a strategic point of view, yeah, the point guard sets the table. He gets guys the ball in scoring position.
But what else do you notice with
Washington? It's the leadership. It's just the lack of leadership and organization. That's the real thing you lose when a point guard goes down. You can replace somebody to come out and pass the ball, but crunch moments, key decisions, that leadership that comes from the point guard position, that cannot be replaced.
And a foul going for the rebound on Nate Roberts of Washington. Number 1 on number 1. But here's the other thing. I know the Huskies were picked to come in third in the Pac-12 preseason poll. And a lot of it was built around potential. Not just Quade Green, but Stewart, McDaniels, as they had the number 6 recruiting class in America coming in. As DJ Rodman nearly gets the bounce in on the 3. Isaac Bonton from long range. And the rebound, and it's ripped down by Nate Roberts for Washington. But a lot of it was based on potential. For the most part, these guys hadn't played together before.
Yeah,
skipping through the key in the layup for Elijah Hardy.
And it's really hard, if not impossible, to quantify how guys are going to play together. In basketball, the great thing about it, 2 + 2 doesn't always equal 4. You can have a talented team, but if there's no chemistry, if things aren't exactly ideal, you don't get that result.
Washington, they were the Pac-12 champs last year. They went 15-3. They made the NCAA tournament, beat Utah State, then lost the second round to North Carolina. Isaac Bonton on the drive, can't get it to go. Elijah Hardy the rebound, here come the Dogs. But they lost a ton from a year ago. Jalen Noel, who was the Pac-12 Player of the Year. You lost Matisse Thybulle, who was the Defensive Player of the Year, who was spectacular at shutting down half the floor last year. He was like a shutdown corner in the NFL. You lost a physical presence and a terrific low-post scorer in Noah Dickerson. David Crisp, who was a 4-year player and really had a terrific senior year. And also you lost Dominic Green, a terrific three-point shooter. Mike Hopkins lost a ton from a year ago, and maybe too much was expected of this young group.
Yeah, I think the coaches always have to live in that space between expectations and reality, and a good coach is comfortable in that area. He knows what the expectations are, but he knows what he's looking at day in and day out in practice. And when you lose that many guys that are that important to your program, you can't just spring right back into action. So the main thing with Washington is don't worry about the expectations. Try to get better. And like most coaches in the Pac-12, Coach Hopkins is dealing with consistency being the main issue right now.
Shot clock issue. That's why Darren White, along with Vern Harris and Tommy Nunez, working this game here in Pullman, as the Huskies have scored 6 straight to pull within 4, 21-17. And C.J. Ellaby for Washington State leads all scorers with 8 points, but he has 2 fouls on the bench for Kyle Smith right now, 6 for Noah Williams, while 5 each from Jaden McDaniels, Marcus Suhonas, and Isaiah Stewart for Washington. So again, the shot clock issue here, it did not start when the Cougars brought the ball up. Just past the midway point of the first half, and Washington, who is just 2-8 in the conference, after that great run, including a win over Baylor in the non-conference, and they were swept at home by the Arizona schools last weekend. And just to show you how that margin for error is so razor thin, Washington in 7 of their 8 Pac-12 losses has led in the second half or been tied in the second half and just have not found a way to finish games. They blew a 16-point lead at home to Oregon, lose that one in overtime. They had a 9-point lead against Arizona at home last weekend and watched the Wildcats come back and win it. It's been a frustrating time in league play for Mike Hopkins and his program.
Yeah, and what's frustrating is you want your kids to get the formula to winning as soon as possible, so then practice becomes, how do we duplicate it? How do we do what we did last week?
Travel on Jaden McDaniels.
And when you play those good games and don't come away with the win, it's hard to keep the confidence and the intensity every night out. You want to be rewarded when you play a good game, get the win, come out the next day, do the exact same thing.
And the thing that's impressive, even with the struggles the Huskies have had in league play, Washington is still 9th in the country in field goal percentage defense. They hold their opponents to below 38%. Noah Williams way off on a 3, but Jeff Pollard grabs a loose ball underneath and a foul against Washington. And even in trailing this one, they're holding Washington State to 37%. First on Elijah Hardy of Washington. It'll be on the baseline for Washington State. The Cougs have missed their last 7 and are just one of their last 9, and they've gone 4 minutes without scoring. Ever since C.J. Ellaby went to the bench with a second foul, he's back in the game now. The Cougs have been out of sorts offensively in a turnover by Washington State.
Well, the last 3 or 4 possessions, they've been trying to be too cute with the passing. All these one-hand laser passes from 30 feet away. Got to play a little bit better. Get back to what they did at the start of the game. Pass to the high post, space it out, knock down shots.
Jamal Bay missing a 3. Noah Williams the rebound. Long outlet for Ellaby. Blows the layup and the rebound, Marcus Suhonas. Here comes Washington. Jaden McDaniels trying the Euro step on a block on Jeff Pollard will get McDaniels to the line.
And one of the reasons the Cougars find themselves in decent shape has been their defense on Isaiah Stewart. The constant double team. He's only got 3 points. They've been doing a great job of not letting him become a factor.
McDaniels 0 for 1 at the line. Off the bench now in 3 of the last 4 games. Rattles out. Next big Monday doubleheader tomorrow on ESPN, and the ESPN app starts in the ACC. At 7 Eastern, number 8 Florida State is at Cameron Indoor to take on number 7 Duke. Then we head to the Big 12. Number 1 Baylor squaring off in Austin against Texas. That game is at 9 Eastern. Both games again on ESPN and the ESPN app. Big Monday presented by Boost Mobile. 1 out of 2 for McDaniels in a 3-point game. Isaac Bonton, and he let the finger roll go, and it was short. Trail 3 for Hamir Wright, and it trickles out of bounds, and it belongs to Washington State. And hobbling a bit underneath is Noah Williams. The Cougs have missed their last 9 shots, but still lead it by 3 over their rivals from Seattle.
As soon as the FBI put Jewel on the evening news, they gave the real bomb a free pass. He's out there right now watching us.
Washington State leading Washington, wrapping up our Pac-12 weekend, a wild day in the conference. And Oregon State last night in the most played rivalry in college basketball, the 385th meeting between the Beavs and the Ducks, and Oregon State, a late comeback, knocked off number 14 Oregon. Your alma mater really struggled, and Mick Cronin and UCLA go to McPhail, get a big win. And a wild one in the desert, Remy Martin in Arizona State, knock off USC. And also that game in Boulder yesterday, a scary fall for Oscar da Silva of Stanford, who left the game in a collision with Evan Batty. And it was really emotional. Evan Batty was all choked up. And the good news is on Oscar da Silva's a turnover on Washington State. He's going to be okay. I was texting with a couple of the Stanford coaches yesterday about it. They don't know, there's no timetable right now, and Stanford putting out some news on Twitter earlier today about the injury to Da Silva. He's doing okay, but they don't have a timetable for when he can come back. And it was a really scary incident yesterday as a foul committed by the Cougars, but both teams coming together. Both were very emotional. Jared Haas, Tad Boyle bringing both teams in the middle of the court after the injury to Da Silva. You could see how distraught Evan Batty was, and he was choked up, and it was the last thing that Evan Batty wanted to see. He's a terrific kid, and you felt for him because he felt awful what happened when he landed on Oscar da Silva. But I guess the good news is for da Silva, he's going to be okay. Yeah. And right now a 9-0 run for Washington to make it a one-point game.
That's certainly the good news, and a pair of great coaches with both teams impressing on the young men the importance of, there's some things that go beyond sports, and you want to take a moment to send good thoughts to your fellow teammates and your fellow opponents.
Foul on Jaden McDaniels, and the charge will go the other way.
It's about positioning right here. Keep your hands out of there. Noah Williams doing it again on the defensive end, making plays.
$7:10 left, first half. Cougars have already led by as many as 10.
Right now, the Huskies trying to generate some transition as they trap.
Lost out of bounds by UW. Washington State ball.
You know, sometimes coming out of that timeout, Coach Hopkins will have them trap the first pass, and they were able to do that out of the timeout and get the transition, but you never know what you're going to see out of their zone. Sometimes they trap you out front. They'll trap it if it goes to the corner. They got a lot of different wrinkles in that 2-3 zone.
Deron Henson in the game. He hasn't played much this season, but a guy that can fill it up is C.J. Ellaby will get to the line. But the Cougs have missed now 12 of their last 13 shots. They've been scoreless for nearly 6 minutes as the Huskies on a 9-0 run, but C.J. Ellaby will try to end that drought for Kyle Smith.
Well, their defense has kept them in the game. They haven't given up a lot of easy points. They've been hit with a couple of threes, but other than that, they got the Huskies sitting on 20 points as well, so both teams cooling off a little bit from that early beginning.
One more for Ellaby, who has 9. He's 3 for 3 at the line. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention his dad, Bill Ellaby, one of the best three-point shooters in Cal history. Very proud of his son, CJ, as he should be. Cougars by 3. Jaden McDaniels, and the rebound. And here comes Washington State. Isaac Bonton on the drive. Swatted, but McDaniels will be called for a goaltend. First points for Isaac Bonton.
Bonton takes it to the rim. Nice Euro step, lets it go, and that ball is on the way down. Easy call for the officials, but still an impressive play by McDaniels to track him down and get a hand on the ball. The Huskies got to try to get Stewart started on the block some kind of way. You know the double team is coming, but they still got to find a way to get him the ball.
Marcus Suhonis, tough floater in the lane.
He's had quite a nice first half, couple of buckets.
Here's a turnover. Jaden McDaniels pushes. Ahead for Suhonis. Underneath, and the finish from Nate Roberts, and it's a one-point game.
Careless turnover there by Bonton. Out front, one-handed passes are not going to get it against this Washington Huskies team.
The length and the size from UW that they can stretch out the zone. 7 players that are 6'9" or taller on this Washington team.
And that's what's so...
Deep three from C.J. Ellaby. And the rebound. Loose ball picked up by Marvin Cannon for Washington State. He just came back from injury himself. And a foul as the Huskies looking to break out. And it's against Washington State.
Another turnover right there. Bonton trying to take things a little too fast. Whether it's his passing or over-penetrating and getting caught in the air with nowhere to go.
First on Deron Henson, and it puts Washington into the bonus. 7th team foul against Washington State. And at the line, Isaiah Stewart, who's 75% from the line. 7th in the Pac-12 in scoring, 5th in rebounding. Can't get the free throw, but a whistle, and they're getting a lane violation against Jeff Pollard. So Isaiah Stewart gets a second crack at the 1-and-1.
This is Larry Scott's fault. Fire Larry Scott.
And Stewart takes advantage, will get one more. He now has 6 points for the stud freshman from Rochester, New York. He's already 3rd in Huskies history for most blocks by a freshman. In addition to the great offensive numbers he's putting up, he hits both, and the Huskies go on top. (15-4) push by UW over the last 7 minutes.
There's some real shaky ball handling going on out there from the Cougars that have allowed the Huskies to not only get back in this game, but take the lead.
Ryan Rapp over to Deron Henson. Banks in a 3. It's the second bank 3 for the Cougars in the first half.
You know it's the Apple Cup when you're seeing bank shot 3s at the end of the possessions. A little bit of luck.
He's 10 for 17 from 3 this season. Again, he hasn't played much, but that he can do. From the outside, and a 3 for Jamal Bay.
Right there, good execution by the Huskies. Little ball screen and a pop out. Miscommunication defensively right there. Ellaby didn't come out and rotate over.
Deron Henson from the elbow. Last touch by DJ Rodman. It belongs to Washington. 1 point lead for the Huskies. It's back and forth.
Every possession matters, and sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Cougars off the glass, but then the answer from the Huskies, we got a tight one here.
Tomorrow we'll have a top 4 women's basketball matchup. Dawn Staley and top-ranked South Carolina hosting Gino Ariyama and number 4 UConn in Columbia. 7 Eastern on ESPN2 and the ESPN app. UConn 8-0 all-time against the Gamecocks. And how about last Monday? Here's the matchup to watch tomorrow. But Oregon traveled all the way back to Storrs. They took on UConn and Sabrina Ionescu and the Ducks. They took it to UConn.
They smacked them, absolutely.
Did you see Sabrina had her 24th career triple-double?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. You talk about being a well-rounded player. That's not even a fair description of her game. She literally can do everything, and she does it at a high level.
24th career triple-double on Friday night for Sabrina Ionescu. And Oregon is the Pac-12. A bunch of teams up in the top 10 on the women's side. But that matchup, UConn and South Carolina.
And I'm very happy to see the job that Adia Barnes has done down at Arizona, getting them back in the top 25 after decades of wandering in the desert. Now the Wildcats have a decent team out there too.
C.J. Ellaby, the fall away.
You know, he picked up his second foul quite some time ago, and that's the mark of a good player. He's got 2 fouls, but he's still finding ways to be productive and not give up baskets.
Jaden McDaniels answers for UW. At what point, because if you're Kyle Smith, Corey, you don't want C.J. Ellaby to get foul number 3 before halftime. Do you look to get him out so he can't pick that one up? Rims out from Ellaby, and the rebound, Jamal Bey.
I think you roll the dice because he's developed and built enough trust with the coaching staff. He's been in these situations before. Not only does he score, but he blocks shots. He gets rebounds. He makes assists. So when you sit him to protect him, you're hurting your defense, you're hurting your offense, you're really diminishing the chances of the Cougars to stay in this game against Washington. So I know traditionally you would sit a guy with 2 fouls, but he's just too important to that Husky team.
On the arrow, it goes to Washington State. 1-point lead for Washington. Huskies are 4 of 8 from 3. C.J. Ellaby drains his 3rd 3 of the first half.
And that's why you leave him out there.
15 for Ellaby. Cougs by 2. Isaiah Stewart tried it from the top of the arc.
And the difference between Stewart and Ellaby is getting to work against the zone where no one is assigned to guard him, so he can roam free and score.
Ryan Rapp missing.
As with Stewart, he's getting all the attention, immediate double teams. He's having a much different look defensively than Ellaby is.
Foul on the drive and a block on Ryan Rapp of Wazoo. His first, and the Huskies to the line with 1:57 left in the half. And it'll be Marcus Sohonis, who's only 3 for 8 from the foul line here. Sohonis, who made his first career start last Saturday against Arizona State, and starting for the second time here in the Apple Cup against Washington State at a career-high 19 against Arizona State last Saturday. And Kyle Smith saying that should be a 1-and-1, not the double bonus. And the officials are discussing it here after the front end was missed. And they'll say Washington State ball after the miss from Sohonis. So it was a 1-and-1, not a 2-shot variety.
Well, we got a great crew here today, and they're on top of everything. And the most important thing is the right call gets made.
Cougars by 2. And Isaac Bonton throws it away. He's trying to claim the ball was tipped, but to no success, and it's a Washington ball. And uncharacteristic. 9 first-half turnovers for Washington State. They're one of the best teams in the country in turnover margin.
And Bonton has 5 of them right now, slinging the ball around with one hand. Got to do better. I'm sure that will be addressed at halftime.
Pull-up and the floater from Jaden McDaniels, and we're tied.
You see Washington just hanging around. They're long, they're athletic, they can score. Good move right there.
12 off the bench for McDaniels. C.J. Ellaby, 3. 4 threes for Ellaby. 18 for C.J. 4 for 6 from 3. He's got the last 8 points for Washington State. Marcus Sohonis from deep. Rims out a 3. Jeff Pollard the rebound. Here comes Ellaby. Isaac Bonton throws up a wild layup, hits the underside of the rim. Jaden McDaniels to Isaiah Stewart. Tries to power through a double team, and he's called for the offensive foul. first on Stewart.
I'm not really a fan of this call. Stewart takes a nice dribble, and there you see a great acting job by Pollard. Goes to the deck. He knows it's over. You let him get the ball that deep, it's 2 points. The only thing he can do at that point is to try to sell the foul, and he did a good job of doing that.
So now Washington State can milk it for the last shot and make sure they have the lead at halftime.
Well, the Cougars haven't done themselves any favors in terms of turning the ball over. If they could eliminate that, they probably would have a bigger lead because they're shooting the ball really well.
6 for 15 from 3, Washington State. Isaac Bonton, 5 left in the half. That's a deep 2. And he gets the roll. Home court roll for Isaac Bonton to end the first half. And it's Washington State by 5 at the break.
Rivalry game, a lot of emotion, and right now the Cougars getting the friendly bounces at home, playing some great defense as well.
Halftime on the Palouse, and it's the Cougars by 5. They're going to honor George Raveling here at halftime. We'll talk to the former Cougar coach in the second half. But Washington State leading it by 5 at half. Coming up next, our ESPNU halftime report. You're watching the Pac-12 on ESPN, getting ready for the start of the second half on the Palouse. Washington State leading Washington, the 290th meeting between these two schools, and the halftime festivities honoring the legendary coach George Raveling over, and the team's getting ready for the start of the second half with Washington State up 5. As you look at the stats from the first half, despite shooting just 38% from the floor, Washington State is up 5, and the Huskies getting 16 points to the bench, the majority of those coming from Jaden McDaniels. But the rebound numbers, really, Corey, is why Washington State's in front, as they took 5 more shots than Washington did in the first half, and a +9 in rebounding.
Well, you know, I saw these guys in the hallway. I'm talking about the Washington Huskies. They're huge, and the fact that they're being out-rebounded right now by Washington State tells you a lot. They're limiting them to 1 shot. They're double-teaming the bigs. They're controlling the tempo of this game. Those second-effort offensive rebounds just aren't happening for Washington, and that's the reason they're in the game. And that young man right there is a big reason for it as well.
4 first-half threes for C.J. Ellaby. 18 points, the standout for Washington State, leading the Cougars. And here's the first-half shooting. The Cougs started 7 of 12, then missed 11 in a row, but finished the first half strong.
Well, you got to keep your confidence. You're always going to shoot your percentage. So they came out unbelievably hot. Then things cooled off, but they kept their confidence. They were the benefits of a couple of lucky bounces on some bank shots, 3-pointers, but keep some momentum going.
Not only is this a rivalry game, Corey, but the emotions from the day where you're honoring a legend like George Raveling. We saw it earlier this season for Oregon State when they honored Klay Thompson, retired his jersey, which is hanging to the rafters now. And the team was energized. They responded and knocked off Oregon State. What is it about days like today with the honoring of a legend that really creates a spark with a team?
Well, you don't really get a lot of chances to sit kids down and show them the history of the program that they're a part of, to show them all the people that are behind that jersey that they're wearing. So when they get a glimpse of that and they see the fans' reaction, they begin to realize, hey, there's something more going on than what we're doing right now. There's a history, there's a legacy, and that's sometimes all the momentum you need to give that extra effort.
And not just the feel in this building for the rivalry game, but also when you're honoring George Raveling, who will join us here courtside in a bit, as Washington with the ball to start the second half. Cougs led by as many as 10 in the first half. But a buzz here in Beasley Coliseum as Isaiah Carter drains a 3, and a terrific start to the second half for the Huskies.
He's one of those players. We saw him last season have some really big games, and probably one of the guys that suffered the most from the loss of the point guard out front. He's a guy that can get his own shot, but there you see him in the passing lane with the steal.
He got in foul trouble early in the first half, was a non-factor as a driving layup, and Jamal Bay has tied the game. A quick 5-0 spurt out of the locker room in the first 40 seconds for the Huskies.
You couldn't ask for a better start if you're the Huskies.
You're still eating that Cougar Gold, aren't you?
Can't stop.
Jeff Pollard will get to the line, and a foul against Washington, and it's on Jaden McDaniels, his second.
Pollard's a big body. He slides the baseline. They find him, and this is what you have to do. Right here, you see the passing lane. You got 3 defenders out there, and then it's off to the races. This is a nice move right to the rim. Ellery knows not to pick up his third foul. CJ can't pick up his third foul this early in the second half.
75% foul shooter. Pollard misses. One more coming is his uncle Scott Pollard. Played 11 years in the NBA. A lot of it was Sacramento. Played his college ball at Kansas. His dad, Neil, played at San Diego State. Grandpa Pearl was a Utah Ute. Well, basketball family, the Pollards, and Jeff Pollard gives Washington State the lead again.
Last time I saw his uncle, they were ending my career.
That was your last game?
In the Sweet 16, we
against
lost
Kansas?
to Kansas by a 2. Stanford coach Jared Haas buried us from the corner with a three-pointer. Not fond
Jared
memories
could do
of the
that.
Jayhawks.
Marcus Suhonis, he nearly banked one in. And here comes Washington State.
And you see the scheme. They're going to double-team Stewart, and they'll live with the deep 3 as the shot clock winds down. You're exchanging a post move from Stewart for a contested 3. Cougars will take that all day long.
Making the Huskies prove they can hit the outside shot.
One of the things when you have a big man, you get excited because you know that means I'm going to get some outside shots. We got to make them.
Isaac Bonton, tough step back 3, deflected by Marcus Suhonis.
Boy, he's really going to have to turn it around this half. A lot of turnovers in the first half. Bad shot right there. He's the point guard.
Nazea Carter, tough fall away. And Washington takes the lead. The Huskies, a quick spurt to start the second half, a 7-1 run. And they went from down 5 to up 1.
Huskies clearly not moved by the halftime festivities. This is the Apple Cup, the rivalry game. They want to get right back in this game right away, and they have.
Nice drop off to Jeff Pollard and a pretty pass from Noah Williams.
Noah Williams has done everything right against that zone. He's hit the high post shot. He penetrates when he needs to.
Marcus Suhonis picks it up, and the push shot. And the Huskies seesaw in front.
Right now, you're seeing some consistent offense from Washington. The last 3 or 4 possessions, shots have gone down, and they get to drop back into that pesky zone.
Noah Williams off the feed from C.J. Ellaby.
Noah Williams chirping a little bit, talking a little trash after that made jump shot.
He's from O'Day High School in Seattle, so you know he's talk the talk.
He's got to pipe down. Nobody's guarding him. It's a zone.
Offensive foul, 3rd on Jaden McDaniels.
But I can't deny the fact Noah Williams again making the play on defense. Rotates over, and I love the way he keeps his hands out. He doesn't fall to the temptation of reaching after the ball. Keeps his hands where the officials can see him, takes the contact.
So McDaniels will check out with the 3 fouls as Wazoo brings the ball up. They'll play again later in the season. Over in Seattle is Jeff Pollard missing at the rim. Husky basketball.
Those are the shots you have to have. You do a great job of passing the ball. You hit your big man, point blank range. Pollard wishes he could have that one back.
Isaiah Stewart has it knocked away. He recovers. Elijah Hardy, 5 on the shot clock. Hardy forced to take a 3, and he missed everything. 1-point game in Pullman. Washington State for the 290th meeting. 1-point lead for Washington State, just under 16 minutes to play. And the latest edition of bracketology from Joe Lunardi, and Arizona State entering the picture now.
The Sun Devils playing hard, getting the win against USC. Moving into the picture, this is a year where a lot of people feel like the Pac-12 will definitely get 5 teams, maybe even 6, the way Joey Brackets has it looking, but a lot more basketball to play, plus the tournament. It'll be very interesting to see if it's 4 or 5 or even 6 teams.
So it was an inadvertent whistle. The ball goes back to Washington with 2 on the shot clock before the timeout. So 2 seconds on the timer. Isaiah Stewart gathers and scores. A huge sequence for Mike Hopkins and Washington as they take the lead.
Nice execution right there. Huskies held on to the ball late into the count, still able to get a layup.
So the inadvertent whistle benefits the Dogs. Corner 3, stroked by Jervae Robinson, his second 3.
It's always dangerous when you play zone on the road.
In and out from Isaiah Carter, but a foul going for the rebound. It's on Jeff Pollard.
What I was saying, by playing zone on the road, you got to recognize you're in their home gym. Any wide open shots are going to fall at a higher percentage. You give guys open looks in their home gym, they're going to knock them down.
Third on Pollard is Valdomir Markovetsky, the 7'1" freshman, checks in for him. And a Huskies ball.
Little matchup of the freshman big men. We'll see how this plays out over the next few minutes.
Amir Wright has it stripped, got it back. Marcus Sahonis bumped by Robinson, will get to the line. And it's the first on Jervae Robinson, and Sahonis grimacing a bit as he gets up. Marcus Sahonis will head to the line where he's 0 for 1. Get 2 shots here, 9 points for the freshman, who barely played early this season. He went through a consecutive stretch of 10 games without seeing the floor, and now starting for the second consecutive game. Next big Monday doubleheader on ESPN, and the ESPN app starts in the ACC at 7 Eastern. Number 8 Florida State at Cameron Indoor to take on number 7 Duke after their dramatic win against Carolina yesterday in overtime. Then a Big 12 matchup, number 1 Baylor in Texas. Big Monday presented by Boost Mobile on ESPN and the ESPN app. Keep in mind, number 1 Baylor has a loss to Washington this season.
And you get the feeling that if the Huskies could string together some wins in Pac-12 play, you couple that with the Baylor win, and now they're in the conversation for some postseason action.
Their net ranking in RPI is still decent, considering their 2-8 start in league play, but you're right, they get hot on the back end. That win against Baylor could go a long way.
You can certainly hang your hat against Baylor. That's a great team. Good quality win.
On a neutral floor. Beat him up in Alaska to start the season. And a kick by McDaniels, and they'll put 20 on the shot clock. Washington State by 1.
You know, when you're playing in college, you never root for anybody. But you're not exactly mad when people you beat go on to play well, because that bolsters your whole case for being where you are in the rankings.
Another kick. And it will go from 11 back to 20. One more time for Washington State. The Huskies looking for a road win. They have just one true road win, and that was in the Diamond Head Classic in Honolulu. They beat Hawaii in the semifinals to get to the championship, where Washington lost to Houston. And that's their only true road win.
And, you know, with a team that's this talented, you know that's just psychological. They got to find a way to put together a good second half and get a win.
Out of bounds, Washington ball. But this place has not been easy to pick up a road win at. Coming to Pullman, where the Cougs have been terrific here, 10-3 this season at Beasley Coliseum. And a win against Oregon, as well as UCLA, Arizona State, Oregon State.
And a lot of those games had the same thing in common. Teams come in here and get off to a slow start. The Cougs build confidence and end up stealing the game.
Foul on Valdemir Markovetsky, his second. One-point lead for Washington State. It's been tight for the majority of this one, even though the Cougs led by as many as 10 in the first half. Jaden McDaniels challenged by Noah Williams, and C.J. Ellaby the rebound, and a reach-in on Sam Timmons of Washington. First on the senior from New Zealand. Timmons, who was a starter primarily for his first 2.5, 3 years at Washington, making nearly 60 starts, but now coming off the bench with this group this year.
Which is a big-time adjustment for him when you think about how talented he is.
First points of the second half, 21 now, 5 threes for C.J. Ellaby. Amir Wright challenged by Ellaby on the three. Here comes Ellaby. C.J. Ellaby missing in transition. And the rebound, Elijah Hardy for the Huskies. And a turnover by UW. Here comes Ellaby again. Draws the foul.
And the crowd on their feet applauding. Roxy, what are you going to do? You're right there in his face. He shoots it anyway, nothing but net. He runs down to the other end of the court, gets a steal, takes it up and down. He went 94 feet 2 times in a row. And now he finally gets to rest a little bit with some free throws. Unbelievable.
He needs a breather.
Yeah.
Foul on Amir Wright, his second. C.J. Ellaby now 5 for 5 at the line. And 22 points for C.J. Ellaby. His 14th 20-point game of the season. He was Pac-12 Player of the Week a few weeks ago. One more for Ellaby and trying to put the Cougs up 6. With just over 13 minutes to go, and Ellaby having a terrific ball game now, 23 for the sophomore from Seattle.
And he's only a sophomore, and he's got the presence of mind to stay active, even with the 2 fouls. Here he is in the open court again.
Recovers and banks it in. A 7-0 run courtesy of C.J. Ellaby.
Credit Noah Williams for digging out that loose ball, and they're on their feet here in Beasley Coliseum.
Mike Hopkins wants to talk things over and slow it down as C.J. Ellaby has sparked a Cougar rally. Up 8 in Pullman. Well, a Washington State 7-0 run fueled by C.J. Ellaby, who leads all scorers with 25.
Well, it's one thing for the coach to give you the green light. It's another thing to go on a tear the way he has, knocking down shots, transition, hustle plays. He's been the life of the Cougars here in the second half.
The 25 for C.J. Ellaby. His career high is 27, which he has reached 4 times this season. And he has Washington State up 8 on the Huskies. After Washington took the lead, a good start to the second half for UW, but the Cougars have answered.
And Rox, I know the 2-3 zone is the Huskies' bread and butter, but they got to find him. They can't just let him roam around and float to the corner and knock down open threes.
Isaiah Carter in the lane. And he's had a strong second half after he picked up a couple of early fouls, was a non-factor in the first half.
See how easy he makes that. The first thing you ask yourself is, why can't he do that all the time? That's just a penetration pull-up.
Here's Ellaby. Knocked away, but a reach. Second on Jamal Bay as the Cougs up 6 on Washington. 11:55 to go. The legend, the Hall of Famer, George Raveling, joins us next here in Pullman. Well, a special day in Pullman as they honor the Hall of Famer, the Washington State legend, George Raveling, at halftime. And his name and banner will hang up above Friel Court at Beasley Coliseum for Washington State basketball fans to enjoy for years to come. As the legend is with us here courtside with Corey Williams, Roxy Bernstein, and our pleasure, the Hall of Famer. What was it like at halftime, Coach?
It was emotional. I was trying to get back to my seat before I started. I didn't want him to have an 83-year-old man standing at half court crying. But it was a special moment for me. I got my start here. They took a big risk on hiring me, but they stuck behind me and they exhibited patience and loyalty. It was a great 11 years of my life.
Now, Coach, you said they took a risk on hiring you, but when you glance at your resume and all of your accomplishments, there's clearly something extra. What was it that you brought to work every day when you talk about the success that you've had spanning decades? What was the most important characteristic you thought?
I would say work ethic and determination. And the ability to, I think the thing that's helped me the most in life is being able to surround myself with outstanding people and then letting them mentor me.
And a shot clock violation against Washington State, a turnover. And one thing that really stood out to me from your halftime speech was your line, Coach, about we either won or we learned. We never lost. Where did you pick that up? You had so many points of wisdom over the years and quotes that even people draw to. I've been reading a bunch of them as well, but where did a lot of that come for you?
It actually is a takeaway from Nelson Mandela, and I read that in the book, and I copied it down, and I thought to myself, this is something that I can share with the players, something that I can live every day.
Marcus Sahonis hits a three.
And you don't have to be an athlete to understand that you still have a responsibility to win in the biggest game of all, the game of life. And so those times when failure sets in, you just learn from it and keep moving.
And, Coach, you know, your career on all accounts has been considered groundbreaking, legendary. You've been on the front lines of a lot of things over the years. Can you talk a little bit about the importance, especially, you know, among minority athletes, the importance of sports in terms of allowing them to get a higher education and the impact it can have on a young person's life?
Young people have to understand that athletics, basketball in particular, that we're talking about, can be their GPS in life. You take the basketball gives you an opportunity to get a four-year college education. You're going to meet some of the most unbelievable people in the world. You're going to learn a lot of life lessons, and you cannot allow your focus to be solely on the basketball or athletic competition. It's a chance to build relationships. It's a chance to learn, and it's a chance to grow.
Corey mentioned about your groundbreaking career. You were the first African-American head coach, not just in this conference, but in a Power 5 conference. What did it mean to you that you were the first one to kick down the door and break through?
That I had to get my work uniform on and become a road builder. I had to build bridges, connect bridges that other African Americans and minorities can cross. I couldn't afford to let them down. I was a precursor, and
Noah Williams, the steal and bucket, and a timeout for Washington.
I'm smiling because his dad played for me.
Now, could Guy do that, what Noah just did?
Oh, yeah. Guy Williams was one of the 5 best players I ever coached at any school. Unfortunately, he injured his knee the latter part of that season, or I really believe we could have gotten to the Final 16 that year.
Now, Coach, we talked about you being on the forefront of a lot of things, and I have to ask, if it's true, I'd love to hear the story. Is it true that you have an original typewritten copy of Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, and how did you come into possession of that?
Well, I was working as a security guard at the March on Washington, and my height of 6'4" paid off for me because they put me up as a security guard up on the podium where the speakers were. And when he finished speaking, for whatever reason, I said, Dr. King, could I have that copy? And he folded and handed it to me, and the rabbi on the other side came to say the benediction, and he said to Dr. King, that's the greatest speech I ever heard. So Dr. King's attention turned back to the rabbi, and that was it. I had it for over 50 years, and nobody even knew I had it.
Amazing. Right place at the right time. That is amazing.
Cougars leading by 10, matching their largest lead.
He ad-libbed the I Have a Dream part in. It was not really part of the original text.
Isaiah Carter answers for Washington. A 7-0 run ended by the Huskies. And the honor for you today, George, what does it mean for you to come back and have this honor bestowed upon you by Washington State?
It means a lot to me, but I think it means even more to those people that I surrounded myself with in 11 years there. Nobody achieves success alone. There's a whole bunch of people behind you that are really responsible for your success. And so I'd like to look up at that sign and see all the invisible names of the people who made it possible for them to even consider me for the award.
Well, congratulations. I know they're tugging you in every direction today, but it's your day here in Pullman. Really happy for you. Congratulations on a tremendous honor.
Right, and I'd like to thank both of you for what you're doing for the game of basketball. You guys do an incredible job. I watch you and listen to you, and I just keep doing what you're doing because you're helping the game, you're helping our young people.
Folks, thank you very much. But you know how easy this is because you did it for a while as well. George Raveling, the legend here, the Hall of Famer at Washington State, in his day here in Pullman, and his Cougs are getting the upper hand of the Huskies. So 5-point game as Isaiah Carter trying to answer a career-high 28 for C.J. Ellaby as the rebound tipped out and Jaden McDaniels saves it. Five-point lead. And a turnover by Washington. And the Cougs will get it right back. That was cool.
Unbelievable. We could have gone on for literally hours.
We would have.
A lot more questions.
They're pulling him as they're going to honor him again somewhere here at Beasley Coliseum. But you got to play against a George Raveling coach team when he was at USC.
And we knew they'd be scrappy. We knew that they would come with a chip on their shoulder and play hard. And, you know, this was before the high school and college rankings. Anybody that put on that SC jersey was going to bring it. He respected all of his players.
Foul against Washington, the third on Isaiah Carter. George Raveling Day here in Pullman, and the Cougs leading Washington by 5. Tomorrow, a top 4 women's basketball matchup with Dawn Staley and number 1 South Carolina hosting UConn and Gino Ariama. Number 4 Huskies head to Columbia 7 Eastern on ESPN2 and the ESPN app. South Carolina looking for their first win over UConn. The Huskies have won all 8 of the previous matchups. ESPN2 tomorrow.
Several programs in women's basketball trying to wrestle that torch away from UConn over the past couple of seasons. And once again, they've got a tough team, and Gino is not going to hand it over easily.
5-point lead for Washington State, 7:54 to go. The Cougars trying to snap a 4-game losing streak to the Huskies that made the trek over from Seattle. And a foul before the inbound pass and a hold. Number 3 on Jamal Bay.
If you're the Huskies, you have to find a way to run C.J. Ellaby off the three-point line. He's 5 for 7. You've seen enough. Force him to drive and try to rotate, but hitting monster threes, keeping this crowd in the game.
1-1 for Ellaby, who's now 7 for 7 from the line. Career high 29.
I haven't seen this kind of composure out of a sophomore. The ability to play with fouls, to be consistent, to take big shots in big moments. You don't see a lot of second-year players with this much composure.
Second 30-point game for a Cougar this season. Isaac Bonton had 34 against Oregon State on Klay Thompson Day. There's something about these days that honor Cougar legends. 34 for Bonton that day. Ellaby a career high 30. And the Cougs with the ball and a 7-point lead.
Well, it's like I said, you can tell players about the history of their program, or you can literally show it to them and create that pride that they feel when they put that jersey on.
And George Raveling, his history dates bigger than just Washington State, considering how groundbreaking of a coach he was, the things he accomplished. It's remarkable, his journey, and he opened up the doors for a lot of coaches, especially the minorities, which he talked about.
Absolutely. At a time where college basketball was much about winning as well as running a profitable athletic department, there were a lot of schools that were hesitant. And the success he was able to have kind of eased those fears and opened the door for a lot of coaches.
Fourth foul in Jamal Bay. Isaac Bonton to the line for Wazoo.
Right now, if you look at the body language of the Huskies, they're getting whipped. They just gave up 2 offensive rebounds back-to-back, and now they send another player to the free throw line.
One more for Bonton, who has 5 points. He struggled a bit today. He has 7 turnovers. And the Cougs up 8. And Mike Hopkins seeing this again. They're close in a tight conference game, but now Washington State trying to get some separation, and it's the Cougars by 9.
And to be honest with Bonton, he has not played well. He's had a number of just careless turnovers. He's missed a lot of wild shots, but he's the kind of player that will keep coming at you and may make some big plays down the stretch.
Marcus Suhonis flails up a 3. Noah Williams the rebound.
And nobody's played a great game like Noah Williams has in terms of rotating on defense.
Punched out of bounds by Ellaby. It's a Washington ball.
Noah Williams rotating on defense, knocking down big shots, breakaway slam dunks. And I got on him earlier about running his mouth, but he's backed it up here in the second half.
Huskies need to respond. Scoring drought of about 2.5 minutes. They find themselves in a 9-point hole.
Ellaby with the full court denial.
Pass deflected. Noah Williams draws the foul. Second on Isaiah Stewart. And he wanted a goaltend, but the ball never got up above the rim.
I mean, Ellaby's doing his thing, but Noah Williams in the open court, making it happen. Great steal. He'll get some free throws.
So Williams to the line. He's 2 for 2. 10 points for Williams. One more, now 2 for 3 at the line for the freshman from Seattle. And as George Raveling talked about, Dad played for him here at Washington State. And Noah following in Dad's footsteps as a Cougar. Missed both.
That speaks a lot to Coach Raveling and his legacy and tradition. Pops had a great experience, and he wants the best for his son.
Over the back. Isaiah Stewart climbing through Jeff Pollard in his third foul.
And you can see it on the face of the Huskies. They've lost 5 games in a row, some close. The only loss that wasn't close was the loss at Colorado where they got beat by 14, but their body language at this point, they've been here before and had games slip away, and they're feeling this one start to slip away here.
Arms up!
Double bonus, 2 shots for Pollard. One more coming. Sports Center tonight, 11 Eastern. Kenny Mayne and John Anderson will have Heat Blazers reactions, as well as Phil Mickelson looks for back-to-back wins at Pebble. And the story behind a tribute to Kobe and Gianna Bryant in the Philippines. Sports Center, 11 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. And the Cougars have matched their largest lead.
I remember being in the Philippines in 1999 and seeing kids wearing Kobe Bryant jerseys all over the place. And he was, just got in the league in 96, already a global icon. I think that's a great story.
And a foul on Jeff Pollard, his 4th, with 5:37 remaining. And that is team foul number 7, putting Washington into the bonus, and Isaiah Stewart a 1-1.
That's the best thing that can happen for the Huskies right now. The offense has started to get a little stagnant. They'll be shooting free throws the rest of the way out. So if they're just physical and aggressive, maybe they can get some points.
Pollard will check out for now with the 4 fouls. Is Valdemir Markovetsky in for him. Stewart 2 for 2 at the line, 9 points, 5 rebounds, but 5 turnovers for Isaiah Stewart today. One more for the freshman. Double figures in each of the first 15 games. And then Stewart, it's been a little tougher for him to establish himself without Quade Green in the lineup recently. As Stewart hits both. And 4 times this season, Isaiah Stewart has been named Pac-12 Freshman of the Week. Noah Williams, and the rebound grabbed by Nate Roberts.
And that's the shot Noah Williams hit to begin the game. See if the Huskies can capitalize on the stop.
And a foul will put Isaiah Carter at the line.
And this is what I talked about. Sometimes you just have to be aggressive and you'll be able to get points. Now that you're in the bonus, we'll see if the Huskies can continue to chip away at this lead. The zone defense at one end, get to the free throw line at the other.
Second on Isaac Bonton. A 1-1 for Isaiah Carter, who's 1 for 1 from the line. The offensive rebound, Stewart gives it right back, and Carter is fouled by Markovetsky. And Isaiah Carter will go right back to the free throw line for the Huskies. So after the miss, Carter back to the stripe, and Isaiah Carter has 12 points, all in the second half. Misses again. One for 2 this time. And it's a 7-point game. And probably know by now that Isaiah Carter, his uncle, Jay-Z.
Must be nice.
Probably is. I wouldn't know. Washington State 65, UW 58. As Washington trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. And things seem great for the Huskies entering conference play, but it's fallen apart, and shockingly, they're in the cellar of the Pac-12 of Washington State. Not much was expected for Kyle Smith in his first year here in the Palouse. And not just Kyle Smith, but you look at all the new coaches in the Pac-12, Mick Cronin at UCLA, Mark Fox at Cal, and the jobs these new coaches are doing. And it's well regarded. The conference is much improved this year, where you look at 5, possibly 6 teams could get into the field as of right now. But also, Corey, the bottom of the league is better. There's more depth and balance to the Pac-12 this season.
No question about it. And when you talk about those coaches, you talk about Cal, Washington State, and what they've been able to do, this year more than any other year, aggressive and confidence are more important than talent. If you have a team that's confident and plays aggressive, like UCLA went down to Tucson and got a big win yesterday, that matters more than the guys in the jerseys.
Deep three from Isaac Bonton. And the rebound, Nate Roberts for the Huskies. To a chance to chip even further into this Cougar lead, as Marcus Sahonis was looking for a call and missed the floater. Ahead, Noah Williams, swatted by Jaden McDaniels. Bet at the rim. And a foul, and Isaiah Carter will get to the line.
Well, Noah Williams is trying to put him on Sports Center top 10, but it didn't work out the way he thought. Outstanding timing. Look at this block. That's a great block. No contact down low, and then he shoots him the glare. Get that out of here, young fella.
Carter 2 for 4 at the line. Gets the roll. One more for Isaiah Carter. The Huskies, one of the best shot blocking teams in America. They're the Pac-12 leaders as Kyler Kelly from Oregon State, second in the country in blocks. But the Huskies as a team, 5th in college basketball in block shots.
And that's just instinct. You can't teach shot blocking. It's something that a player has. They know the exact moment to jump. They know the exact moment to try to get a piece of the ball. And they got 2 guys on the team that are outstanding. And now Coach Raveling on the baseline, hyping up this crowd as he knows this is what we call crunch time.
He's doing his best Klay Thompson imitation right now. As on Klay Day here in Pullman, he was all up into it the whole game. Deep three, McDaniels, and Roberts hustling for the offensive board. Knocked out of bounds. Washington ball, 8 on the shot clock. 3:43 remaining in Pullman. Cougars 65, Huskies 59, coming down to the wire in the Palouse.
In Cameron, everything is amplified.
Jones lob it to Cameron. Elevator going up.
But the Seminoles are bringing the noise of their own.
The sound, oh my goodness.
Florida State, Duke, get ready to rock.
After the big win yesterday, Duke needs to turn around and play Florida State tomorrow night.
Well, the one thing Duke can take the court with the idea that anything is possible, as North Carolina had some scenarios that if you say out loud are crazy. 5-point lead, 12 seconds to go, and the game still slipped away from them. Duke's got to have a lot of confidence getting ready to host the Seminoles.
There's Coach Rav. Getting the crowd jacked again. Jaden McDaniels in the key. And McDaniels with the miss. The rebound tip to Noah Williams, the son of a former George Raveling standout here in Pullman.
I was just going to say to the kids, they weren't even born when Rav was here doing his thing, but the fans remember because they were here.
Isaac Bonton missing the runner. Isaiah Stewart the rebound. 6-point game. Quiet second half for Jaden McDaniels after a terrific first half. Marcus Sahonis missing a 3, and Mike Hopkins going crazy thinking Sahonis was fouled.
That was a poor shot. He could have taken it all the way to the rim, and right there.
Forced that one.
Yeah, you got plenty of time. You still have plenty of time, so it's not a big deal, but get the 2. You're in the bonus. Force the issue.
Off balance. Bonton gets the roll.
Finally gets one to go after countless missed shots, countless turnovers. He makes a decent play here inside of 3 minutes.
Jaden McDaniels, a chance for The Cougars are saying that McDaniels kicked his leg out, but he was kicked, Vern Harris telling Noah Williams. Williams.
You have to let him land. And right here, there's the shot. And McDaniels falls to the ground and sells the contact. Mike Hopkins still wanting that foul from the previous possession.
First points of the second half for Jaden McDaniels. And the 4-point play cuts the Washington State lead in half. Now here's that last sequence again, where McDaniels is awarded the 4-point play. What do you think?
Yeah, he kicked out his right leg.
McDaniels did?
Absolutely. I played basketball for over 25 years, and I never landed forward in my life. The thousands and thousands of shots you shoot, that is not a natural basketball movement.
Knocked away by Nazea Carter. Jeff Pollard tries to save it, and it goes out of bounds. No, they're calling a foul on Washington, and Nate Roberts his second for a push, and Pollard will head to the line. 2:18 left. Pollard is 2 for 3 from the stripe. 6 points, 10 rebounds for Pollard.
Well, Roch, we talk about what your free throw percentage is during the season, and then what is your free throw percentage during crunch time? This is when it really matters. I always say it's 2 different numbers for every player. What you shoot under pressure versus the normal game, and right now, Washington State trying to close the door.
Pollard hits both, and the senior steps up with the clutch free throws. Back to a 6-point game.
The Cougars want to defend without fouling.
Nazea Carter gets to the bucket. Timeout Washington, and it's their last timeout with 2:08 to go. 16 for Nazea Carter, all in the second half. Cougars by 4, 2:08 to go, and C.J. Ellaby's the story, Corey. A career-high 30 points.
He has had a field day, but he's been active against the zone, in transition. He's gotten anything he's wanted, layups, wide open threes. These are the plays that kept the Cougars in the game, got the crowd involved, and like I said, for a sophomore to be that consistent, amazing performance.
Dad was a terrific shooter, and I love his dad, Bill Ellaby, who I went to college with. CJ's, he's won me over. He's the best shooter of the family now, I think.
I don't think there's much that Pops can say unless he's got some footage he
Bill
can break out.
Bill could really stroke it. One of the best three-point shooters in Cal history, but C.J. Ellaby is a dynamic scorer plus an outstanding shooter.
Well, we were down here when he put the dagger in the Sun Devils a couple weeks ago with a step-back 3 at the buzzer, and then today just putting on a Klay Thompson-ish type of shooting performance.
The next Splash Brother?
I won't go that far.
Okay.
The drip brother, maybe a drip, not a splash, just a drip, maybe.
He's got to earn the full splash.
Yeah, but I love the way that he hits the boards and he plays defense. He's trying to block shots, he's trying to get steals, he's trying to get rebounds, and then, oh yeah, by the way, he'll give you 30 as well.
So the Huskies out of timeouts, down 4 with 2:08 to go. And how about Ellaby? He's got 30 points on 15 shots. That's efficiency at its best.
Efficiency, and when you think you know it's your job and you know the defense is going to key on you, to still get your points at a high percentage, that's impressive. And here's Washington coming out of that timeout, trying to throw a little surprise and trap that first pass. They need a turnover. 2-possession game.
Noah Williams shovels it to Ellaby. Off balance, 32 for C.J. Ellaby.
A lot of players would have shot that with the right hand, but he puts it in the left and finishes going to his left, which is a strong hand.
Nazea Carter launching. And DJ Rodman the rebound. Minute 20, Cougars with the ball up 6.
Still a 2-possession game, but you can't foul. You got to get them to miss, and you got to go.
And clobbered is Isaac Bonton. He'll get to the line and some words exchanged.
Going to the hole in crunch time, attacking the trees, and it looks bad when the little guys collide with the big guys, but that's just basketball right there.
I think this could get upgraded, Corey. I think we could be looking at a flagrant one as Vern Harris and Darren White going to the monitor to check it, and this could be deemed excessive as it appeared there was contact to the head. They were going for the block shot.
Yeah.
But watch this, and Bonton, this could be a flagrant one. And there is Jaden McDaniels coming down, and I think that falls under the criteria as excessive.
It could be, and there you see, immediately went to grab him and let him know, like, hey, you know, I was trying to block the shot, but this is where it gets a little dicey because the officials have to go in, and I don't know if they factor in intent at all, but there definitely was contact to the head in the effort of trying to make a basketball play.
So here's the definition of a flagrant one: excessive, which I believe that was. I do think it was a legitimate play on the ball.
Right.
But it just has to fall under one of these criteria for it to be deemed a flagrant one. And excessive and or unnecessary, I think this falls under that part of the rule. So I do believe this will get upgraded to a flagrant one. Here's one more look. And watch the right hand of McDaniels coming down.
It's actually the left hand and the right hand kind of gets him twice. And I don't know if he was trying to give him the old bear hug and wrap him up so he couldn't score, and it just didn't work out. But either way, you're right. There's some contact around the head area.
It's the fourth on McDaniels. Minute 9 to go. Washington State up 6. They're going to get free throws regardless. But the difference is if it is upgraded to a flagrant one, that means 2 shots and the ball for Washington State. If it stays a common foul, just 2 shots that we play on.
And that almost puts the game on ice because you make this a 3-possession game, the Cougs can come out and burn another 30 seconds off the clock and have a 3-possession game. Whether they score or not on this extra possession, it really didn't matter.
We have a strong crew working this game. Vern Harris, who's worked multiple Final Fours, Darren White, Tommy Nunez, who used to work in the NBA.
Yep.
So they're discussing this, and I do believe we're going to get a flagrant one. So interesting. No flagrant one. It is deemed just the common foul. And here's what they were looking at.
I think initially there was the block, the ball came loose, and the rest of that contact was after the ball was loose. I'm not sure.
Can we agree to disagree?
I always disagree with the officials. And what's funny is I had the pleasure of traveling
Especially
with
when you were on defense.
Absolutely. Traveled with these guys this morning coming in from Vegas. We had the Fresno State UNLV game last night. And talking with them at length in the airport this morning about this exact thing, the flagrant one.
One more for Isaac Bonton. Bonton hits both.
2 big plays for him, the layup and now the free throws.
Even with his struggles today, he's got 10 points, but 7 turnovers. His team up 8, a minute to go. Isaiah Carter. Jamal Bay missing the 3. Carter has it knocked away, and Ellaby is fouled by Bay. And Jamal Bay fouls out with 50 seconds to go. The way today has gone, Corey, and the way that the Oregon State game went earlier this season on Klay Thompson Day, I think Washington State needs to retire a number or put somebody's name up in the rafters every game.
They need to find someone or something to honor every afternoon because the energy level they get
Next
is
home
unbelievable.
game's against Cal in a couple of weeks. Who should they honor next? Craig Elo, he's here today.
Yeah, get him out there.
Former Cougar standout, but long-time NBA career, mostly with Cleveland. C.J. Ellaby, 9 for 9 at the line. All-time leading scorer, Isaac Fontaine.
I know Ike very well. Roxy, it started with the home win against UCLA. I will tell you right now, if you come to the Palouse, you better bring your A game no matter who you are, because they are a tough out in this building.
39.5 seconds to go. The Cougars are up 10 and headed to the line. Trying to snap a 4-game losing streak to their arch rivals. And Kyle Smith's first Apple Cup as a Washington State head coach. Jervae Robinson shooting 2.
Now I'm going to lean on your knowledge right here. Is the cup actually in the building? The Apple Cup?
No.
I was going to say.
I mean, it's, the football rivalry is really termed as the Apple Cup, but this is the Apple Cup series.
So there's no Apple Cup
between
trophy.
Washington and Washington State. No, there is a trophy for the winner of the football game.
Well, basketball needs its own trophy.
Isaiah Carter. $18 all in the second half. And Isaac Bonton is fouled. Fourth on Carter. Bonton 4 for 4 from the line. Five for 5 for Isaac Bonton. The junior who began his college career at Montana State. Went to junior college and second team JC All-American last year in his first year in Pullman. Raekwon Battle getting in late for Washington. And the rebound, Noah Williams, and that'll do it. The Cougars will end their 4-game slide to their arch rivals and knock off Washington. The Huskies have lost 6 in a row overall. And Washington State continues to play terrific basketball at home.
The inspiration, the level of energy, the small attention to all the small details. The Cougars are playing great basketball. They got to try to take this act on the road, but for right now, they can enjoy a big home win.
Career high 34 for C.J. Ellaby and Kyle Smith, and the Cougars winners over their rivals, the Huskies. For Corey Williams and our terrific ESPN crew, Roxy Birdsey saying so long from Pullman.